Hello, it's Concord Wind. I have a lot I want to talk about in this video, and I've prepared a passage of God's words. And I'm not sure what the title of this video is going to be, but I'm sure the title will give you some kind of hint, or maybe just tell you exactly, what the topic's going to be. I'm not sure yet what the title is going to be. So let's read this. God says, "They believe that suffering is without value. They are renounced by the world. Their home life is troubled. They are not beloved of God, and their prospects are bleak. The suffering of some people reaches an extreme, and their thoughts turn to death. This is not true love for God. Such people are cowards. They have no perseverance. They are weak and powerless. God is eager for man to love him, but the more man loves him, the greater man's suffering. And the more man loves him, the greater man's trials. If you love him, then every kind of suffering will befall you. And if you do not, then perhaps everything will go smoothly for you, and all will be peaceful around you. When you love God, you will feel that much around you is insurmountable. And because your stature is too small, you will be refined. Moreover, you will be incapable of satisfying God, and you will always feel that God's will is too lofty, that it is beyond the reach of man. Because of all this, you will be refined. Because there is much weakness within you, and much that is incapable of satisfying the will of God, you will be refined internally. Yet you must clearly see that purification is only achieved through refinement. Thus, during these last days, you must bear testimony to God. No matter how great your suffering, you should walk until the very end, and even at your last breath, still you must be faithful to God and at the mercy of God. Only this is truly loving God, and only this is the strong and resounding testimony. When you are tempted by Satan, you should say, 'My heart belongs to God, and God has already gained me. I cannot satisfy you. I must devote my all to satisfying God.' The more you satisfy God, the more God blesses you, and the greater the strength of your love for God. So too will you have faith and resolve, and you will feel that nothing is more worthy or significant than a life spent loving God. It can be said that man has but to love God to be without sorrow. Although there are times when your flesh is weak and you are beset by many real troubles, during these times you will truly rely on God, and within your spirit you will be consoled, and you will feel certainty, and that you have something to depend on. In this way you will be able to overcome many environments, and so you will not complain about God because of the anguish that you suffer. Instead, you will want to sing, dance, and pray, to assemble and commune, to give thought to God, and you will feel that all the people, matters, and things around you that are organized by God are fitting. If you do not love God, all that you look upon will be irksome to you, and nothing will be pleasing to your eyes. In your spirit you will not be free but downtrodden. Your heart will always complain about God, and you will always feel that you suffer so much torment, and that it is so unjust. If you do not pursue for the sake of happiness, but in order to satisfy God and not to be accused by Satan, then such pursuit will give you great strength to love God." Amen. So, I don't complain about God. I submit to God's arrangements. And I am a happy person, but I still suffer despite all this. I suffer the rejection of my family, the rejection of the world, the rejection of my church, the rejection of my neighborhood. And when I say people reject me, and my YouTube channel, my subscribers reject me too. And when I say people reject me, what I mean is that people cannot receive God's gospel from me, and people cannot receive the truth from me. People reject the truth when I share it, and the church doesn't reject God's gospel or the truth. The church is a little special compared to these other things because the church accepts God's gospel and accepts the truth, but the church rejects me as a person because the church knows I'm reincarnated from a demon and I have the work of evil spirits, or at least I used to have the work of evil spirits. And so anyways, yeah, I'm rejected by the church because of those reasons. And so I suffer all this rejection. And yet I don't give up and I don't complain against God. I understand these are God's arrangements. And I just pray for his will to be done in my life, and sometimes I think it's pointless to upload to YouTube because people don't watch my videos on YouTube. I mean, I don't know. But Rumble, people view my... I don't know if those are botted views or if those are real views on Rumble that I'm getting, but I do get views on Rumble. Hopefully they're real people. That's what I hope and pray for, is that actual people actually listen to me. I mean, I've done like like I don't know, I have the work ethic of Paul and the love and submission to God, the love for and submission to God, and resolve and determination of Peter, the fear of God and shunning of evil of Job. I'm equipped with like so much. I would contribute a great deal to God's management plan and to mankind. I would contribute a great deal to mankind's salvation if people were to actually listen to me, because I produce a lot of content. Like 98% of the content is really good, really beneficial. I preach from God's words. I share my understanding. I share my experiences. I provide a path to practice. It's just, it feels like a tragedy that mankind, especially in America, rejects the truth. And, it feels a bit personal, and it feels, I don't know, it just... And I understand it's all God's arrangements and that Satan has a grip on people. And, there's a lot of factors at play. And I don't blame God. I just submit and accept, that I can't give up. I have to keep trying. And I will keep trying. I've tried hashtags and... tags and promotions and I've tried everything, and nothing seems to work. But if you're on Rumble, and you're watching this, my videos get views. But the YouTube situation is so sad. Because I used to get views. I used to get likes. Can you imagine that? Likes and views on my YouTube videos? It's crazy. Even my songs, and they're amazing songs, and I have to promote them so much to get views, and then I have to sign into other accounts and like the videos to be like, see, other people are liking it, The likes are not like from they're just from me. And I do feel very disappointed. And I'm not getting likes on Rumble really, except for from botted, scammers, and so it's very disappointing, because I just want some affirmation that people are learning and growing, and I just want to contribute to the lives of people. I just want to help guide people to be closer to God. I mean, I have good intentions. My intentions are for God's will to be done, for people's lives to grow and mature so people can live in God's light, so people can achieve submission to God and fear of God and shunning of evil, and as a byproduct, to become happy as a result. And I'm a happy person. I just, I struggle. Sorry, I'm being a downer of this video. I was just thinking about it last night, and it popped into my mind again, and especially reading that passage. And, all the times I've attempted suicide, I was being a coward, It wasn't true love for God, and now I'm determined to live. And I want to experience God's sovereignty, and I want to contribute as much as I can, and learn as much as I can, and grow as much as I can, and I just want to satisfy God. And since I don't get results in my duty, I don't know if I'm satisfying God. But I mean, Noah didn't get results in his duty other than building the ark, but when spreading the gospel, Noah didn't gain a single person. But Noah never gave up. And, that's something I admire about Noah. I really admire Noah. He was a really good person. He was righteous, They say that there's no righteous men on the earth, but Noah was one. Job was one. Peter became a righteous person later in life, and Abel was righteous. And basically what righteousness really means for humans, is taking up God's commission as your own, taking up God's burden and commission as your own, and I don't know how I'm supposed to get results in my duty. I really don't. I have no idea. I really don't know. I honestly, I've got some ideas. Maybe I could start spreading a rumor that some famous creator is starting a secret YouTube channel, and then create the channel and give it a specific name, and then share that specific name and be like, but that seems deceitful. I think that idea came from Satan. I don't think that's the way to go about it. Trick people into watching my videos. That doesn't seem right. And then I got some more bad news. Google Ads is suspending my account. Not full. It's not suspending full access to my account. It's just suspending a feature of my account, which is the targeted ads, which I don't use that feature anyways. So I guess it's not really bad news, but it's kind of bad news because that means that my ads have just been by default shown to the same people over and over, and they've been reporting the ads as, you know, just, I don't know what they reported the ads as, but like whatever. It's just being shown to them too much, to the same people too much. And it's like, I don't even use that feature. I guess it's just on by default. But so it might be good news, because once that feature turns off and I start running ads, maybe some different people will see my stuff. Because right now I think it's just the same, like 500 people, I think the same 500 people see all my stuff, like when I run advertisements, and and they're not interested. Those 500 people aren't interested. And this book cannot be relied upon. I mean, there's good principles in this book, principles for sharing the gospel. It's more like it's a very small book. But some of the words in here, because these are not just all God's words or anything. There's a little bit of God's words sprinkled in, but it's the understanding of man mostly that's in this little tiny book. And I've learned from experience that there's words in there that are false. Like, for example, in the word, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it's like 1 out of every 10 people will accept the gospel. And it says if you share the gospel with all your friends and family, it's impossible that there won't be anybody among your friends and family who, accept the gospel or whatever. And it's like, dude, not only is there no one among my friends and family who accept the gospel, there's no one among hundreds of people that I share the gospel with on YouTube that accept the gospel. So, like, saying that it's impossible for no one I haven't gained one person. Not even one that I'm aware of. I mean, if I have gained anybody, they're not vocal about it. And it's just, people don't understand how hard it is on me to carry this burden and to work so hard and get no results. I mean, it's really difficult. And I don't think people realize. But I won't give up. I'll try to stay positive. Maybe one day people will awaken and maybe my channel will just blow up one day or something, and a lot of people will start flocking to the gospel. I don't know. But I'm doing the best I can, and like my mom says, that's all you can do, is the best you can do. You can't do any better than that. So I'm giving it my best, and if that's not enough, then I'm sure God will still be pleased with me. It'll be enough for God. It may not be enough for this world, but I'm really trying. So anyways, I need to do something. I need to try to stay positive. Being so negative. All right, sorry to end on a negative note, but many are called, few are chosen, and I didn't realize how few the few and few are chosen are. It is, or whatever. Like, the few and the few are chosen is very few. Very few. As a matter of fact, so few that even out of the 5 million people in the Church of Almighty God, did you know that God said that only 1% of those people have achieved a change in disposition? 1%. And it might even be less than that, because God doesn't care about numbers. God will just throw a number that's symbolic of the amount of people, but not necessarily accurate. Because God uses a lot of symbolism. So that 1% could represent like 0.03% or something. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's no telling. But, being optimistic, the 1% could also be symbolic of a number that's a little bit higher, like maybe 1.2% or something. we can't just always be pessimistic about things. But still, I mean, no matter what the number is, it's a small number. And so 5 million people is already a small number of people, and 1% of them have achieved salvation. Like, what is 1% of 5 million? I don't even know. Like, that's a really small number. I think it's 5 or 15 or 500 or 5,000. I don't know. Maybe I could do the math. Or I could just ask Gemini. What is 1% of 5 million?
One percent of 5 million is 50,000. To calculate this, you can use the...
Okay, 50,000. Okay. That's higher than what I, had guessed. I figured it was a number that started with 5. 50,000. Okay. Well, I'm a part of that 50,000. I've achieved a change in disposition, and I have a lot to contribute, yet I'm rejected by the church, and I'm rejected by the world, and I'm rejected by pretty much everyone. I mean, I can't... I don't know. I mean, but the church is rejected by the world, I mean, the church isn't really gaining people. I mean, from what I've seen, they don't seem to be gaining people. You have 2 types of people that comment on the church's page, like people who think it's a Bible-based church, people who call the church a cult, and people who are already in the church. And that's pretty much it. And every once in a while, and it's been years since I've seen this, but every once in a while you'll have somebody say, like, where did these words come from? These words really speak to me, and talking about God's words. And every once in a while that'll happen. And I've actually only seen that once. So yeah, the few in the words, few are chosen, very few. So far it's at about 50,000. 50,000. So far, out of 8 billion people, approximately 50,000 have achieved salvation. So, okay, whatever. Not whatever. We need to pray that God gains more people. So anyways. Thank you for watching. Sorry if I made you feel negative. Try to stay positive. And even if you feel negative, submit to God's arrangements, and obey God with your full heart. Give your heart to God. God is so lovable and so worthy of our, respect and admiration and love. And, he's so innocent and humble, yet righteous and powerful. I mean, his disposition is so complex, and he's so complex, and I just love him so much. And he's very fascinating and interesting, and I really care about him, and I really love learning about him. So you should too. Take it from one of the 50,000. All right. Thank you so much for watching. God bless and goodbye.